Hi there, welcome to my studio. Thanks for checking out this video. My name's Siobhan, and on this channel I share videos about dynamic and expressive approaches to figure drawing. So I focus on ways to develop your own style of drawing through techniques such as gesture drawing. For me, gesture drawing really is the key to unlocking your own natural and expressive style of drawing. And today's video is a very gestural, almost abstract drawing of the male torso. I wanted intentionally to stay very gestural and loose with this drawing because it's so easy just to get caught up in drawing details and miss out on being able to capture the essence or the energy of the pose. Because that's always the difficulty, to try to draw your own impression rather than draw what you know should be there. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this tension between drawing the feeling of the pose versus drawing the anatomy, and I'll explain a little bit more what I mean. Here's the video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll check back in with you at the end. You can check the photo reference that I'm drawing from if you want to follow along with me. I'll leave a link to that exact pose with the timestamp down in the description. When I start drawing, I nearly always start out making marks that I think are going to relate to the direction of the pose. So that to me is kind of nearly the most important thing. The first marks, they probably look like mistakes or look incorrect. They're not in the right place. They don't relate to the actual forms, but they're pointing to the specific tilt that I see in the torso. And I always try to get my first impression down on the page as quickly as I can. So that's what these marks are. These are just me responding to what I see. That's my impression when I first look at the pose. And I try to look at it as, in an overall sense. So getting that tilt correct, to me anyway, is as important as getting the anatomy correct. The reason being that this tilt or the direction that I see indicates movement, and movement in your drawing is going to create a dynamic and powerful drawing that looks like it has life and it looks like it captures the essence of the pose. In other words, it indicates, the dynamic that's going on within the figure. So the tension that I was talking about earlier is the tension that can crop up in your work of drawing life versus drawing an anatomical study. In a model like this, the anatomy is clearly well defined. I mean, all the muscles are super defined on this guy. And the great temptation would be to make a detailed study of just that. But I wanted to draw this pose in such a way that, to me anyway, I wanted to feel that I was drawing the power of the body as opposed to drawing the anatomy of the body. For me, the power in any pose always exists in the movement. So in this one in particular, you can almost imagine the power of the model moving forwards in this pose. When I do get to a point in the drawing where I want to refine the shapes and the forms, I'm actually following what I see as shadow shapes across the body. I honestly couldn't tell you the names of the muscles or what they're supposed to look like. I'm just drawing shadow shapes and focusing on areas where I feel that the aspect of the movement is important. To me, that feels like the arms swinging or the shoulders almost twisting. Overall, movement is one of the most important things to consider in figure drawing, and it's so often the very least thing that people have in mind. I think this is because we're normally drawing from a photo. I mean, we're also drawing a flat 2D image, And we tend to think of the pose that we're looking at and the drawing that we're making as being completely like still, like a frozen, unmoving thing. And then this gets compounded when we start to dial into the specifics and try to draw what we know are muscles and try to draw the muscles individually. So the trouble then is that our drawings, even if they're accurate anatomical studies, they can end up looking a little bit like flat, or they can lack a feeling of or a sense of life. So what I want to encourage you, and this is just, my approach, my suggestion, something to think about, is that when you do your figure drawing, step back and consider the force or the power in the pose, and try to draw, if not that, at least draw with that in mind. It might sound a bit abstract, and I think for beginners it's not an easy thing to grasp, especially if you're looking for a step-by-step approach or if you're trying to design a figure, but it's a way to develop your own expression. So it's really good to step back and to think about what is making this pose dynamic, rather than being overly concerned with what the muscles are and how to draw each individual one. So like I say, that's my advice. Think about that dynamic, or think about that tension between trying to draw the life of the pose as opposed to just drawing the anatomical details. And at the end of the day, gesture drawing is an excellent way. It's an excellent way of drawing that will really help you to overcome that very constricted flat drawing. Because at its heart, gesture is actually about drawing movement. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some useful information out of it, or some inspiration for your own drawing. I forgot to say at the beginning, this is January 2022. It's the start of a new year, and lots of New Year's intentions and resolutions cropping up. And I hope this year is your best drawing year yet. In fact, I want to try and get these videos out once a week and support you on your drawing journey. So if you've got any specific questions that you want me to cover, or any topics that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Jessie says thanks for watching too. Hey.